So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers out there, and welcome to another series of intimate conversations with host Mandy Horton. And our guest today is Kaaren Guelfi. So, welcome, Kaaren.
Hi, Mandy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
Great. And hello, all the viewers.
Yes, welcome. So, I'll just introduce you, Kaaren, to those who don't know you.
Mhm.
Kaaren is a true master healer, medicine woman, and sacred sound specialist. She is a transformational leader plus retreat facilitator. Kaaren is an earth mother, grounded, centered, and balanced. A dream weaver, she assists others to rebirth themselves to align their dreams and soul purpose into reality. Beautiful. Right. So let's get into this conversation. So, Kaaren, the first thing that I ask all my guests is, were you an aware, consciously aware child when you were little?
Not at all. No, not consciously aware. Yeah. I had to
So,
have a traumatic experience to jolt me into my developing my and sort of discovering my spirituality. Mm.
so what was the dynamics in that? So just give us a bit of background in respect to that journey, Kaaren.
Okay, so when I was 16, we were living on a farm and it was coming into Easter. Excuse me. And we were called out the back, and the haystack was on fire, and my young brother was in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he got burnt to death. And that night, I had the most powerful dream. I was 16, as I said, and I had this dream where my brother Brett came to me and he said, "I'm okay, tell the family that I'm okay." And I thought, it was just so real. And I knew it was true, even though,
Yes.
as I say, I wasn't an aware child, but I just knew it was true. And I thought, how am I going to tell the family this? They're not going to believe me. So I never
Mm.
did,
Oh,
never
did
told.
you?
No,
Yeah.
never told them. They were all in their own grief and totally devastated, as you know, as you would be. So we were packed off to boarding school. In that day, that day and age, there was no counselling. They made a big announcement at the boarding school. Um, be very gentle with Kaaren because she's just lost her brother, which, like, I didn't want anyone to know.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I was left in my grief. So, for another 10 years, excuse me, I didn't deal with it. I didn't deal with it at all. Didn't know I had to, really.
No.
And I was running a nursing post down in the country. I was about 26 by myself, no doctors around for 50 to 100 odd miles. So I was running the little community nursing post. So on the same day, it was Easter Sunday that my brother Brett died. I was called out again, and there was a house fire. A man got burnt to death. Same
Oh,
day,
wow.
Easter Sunday. Anyway, of course, I went into a severe sort of depression and got all panicky and everything. And I went away. I had to go away and have a little bit of a break because, again, we got no counselling. I just had to deal with it by myself. And a couple of weeks later, when I got back from my holiday, my friend came up to me and she said, do you want to come and do a Reiki course? And I said, what's Reiki? Like a nurse, I'm black and white. It's either black or white,
True.
nothing
Yeah.
in between. And she said, look, just come and listen. And I said, all right, I'll come and listen, but I'm not doing it. Anyway, the woman who was teaching obviously could read me, and she said, okay, we're going to just do a scan over people's bodies. And I thought, I was just so skeptical. And anyway, I did a scan and I picked up this cold part in this woman's breast. And I thought, oh my God. Anyway, I said to the girl afterwards, look, there's a cold part here. And she said, yeah, I've got a breast lump there. And I thought, as a nurse, I thought there's something in this. So
Yes.
that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. I learnt Reiki. Then, yeah, so it went on.
Wow. Wow,
Mm.
so sorry to hear about your brother. That would have been so traumatic, like actually, and you know, it's very difficult to know how to deal with that sort of thing, particularly being so young. But even adults, you know, a lot of people don't know how to deal with grief. It's,
No.
it's a
And
big,
we're not taught to deal with that either.
not at all.
And so for, that good 10 years, I just held it in until it, exploded. But Spirit had to send me another kick up the bum. Come on, we're gonna present you with exactly the same thing. I couldn't believe exactly the same thing on the same day.
Trigger it all, eh?
Yep.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I can thank my brother now, now that I've done all my work and everything, that he started me on the journey. And
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
amazing.
So, so where from there, Karen? Like you've had a recent trip. We'll get to that, but
Yes,
so
yeah.
yeah, which has been
Well, I did
exciting.
all my Reiki, and then I went to. There used to be a conscious living expo every year over here in Western Australia, so I went along with that with probably Bev and a few other friends,
Yeah.
and there was this stall, and it just caught my eye because Adrian, my husband, and I were very much into like the earth and shamanic stuff and that. And anyway, they were taking a trip over to America to do a planetary transformational and leadership program. And they said, oh, look, come over. It'll just be amazing. You'll connect with the Native American Indians and da, 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 da. Anyway, I convinced my husband, who'd never hopped on a plane, to come. And
Good on
so
them.
we tootled off with 5 other people and thinking it was, we're just going to meet the Indians and do this and do that. But transformational it was. It was on the mountains in Colorado. We were high up. There were pumas and leopards and bears all around, and we were in little tents on the side of the mountain, and we had to sort of walk up, and we had a cold shower in the morning, and then there was a big dome where the actual workshop was held. And Verna Yater, who was a very powerful transformational leader at that point in time, was running it. There were probably about 40 odd people in the room, and I thought, oh my God, all these people, and what are we doing here? I thought we were just going to meet up with the Indians. Anyway, she got the bowl out and stuff. I'd never heard a bowl before, and I thought, for God's sake, shut that thing up. I can't stand it. Of course, it started bringing all of my grief and stuff, everything
Yeah,
up to the
yeah.
surface. So we were up there for, I think it was about 7 to 8 days. And we started first thing in the morning early and went till 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And she was a terror. She just got it out of us. And
Yeah.
Adrian, my husband, had gone up. He was getting the most severe lower back pain, and he sat on it and sat on it and sat it till the last day. And Verna said to him, Adrian, have you got anything you'd like? No, I'm right. I said, freaking, you've come all the way from Australia. What are you going to do? You're going to go back with this? Because every shop we'd gone to down below the mountain that had, turquoise and Native American Indians, he'd have to go out. The back pain got so bad, it
Oh,
just doubled him up. And I thought, bugger him.
pushing him
He
to
doesn't
get it.
want me
Yeah.
buying anything. But as it happened, the last day, the whole of the group was called in, and he did the most massive past life of being Indian chief and being stabbed, and they got all these things out of his back, no pain.
Wow, cool.
So he was convinced, I was convinced, and just before I left, Verna said to me, you need a bowl, Kaaren. And I said, well, I don't know how to use a bowl. You do, Kaaren. You've used them before. And she presented me with a bowl, and that's how my journey started. Consequently, I went back the following year. Adrian didn't come, but I took the girls over. Bev and all of those came. And again, we did a heap more work. So that was the beginning. And from when I first went with Adrian, we got this vision to build a retreat on our farm. So we thought, oh, you know, 15, 16 years and it might start to get built. From the moment we got home, Spirit worked with us. And it was like everything was presented over the next few years. You know, we built a medicine wheel, we built a chakra garden, a labyrinth, we had sweat lodges, we had vision quests.
Wow.
And so it all started, like it was just amazing. We had so many people through and we just loved the land, and people loved the land, no matter how basic it was. At first they were out in tents, and we had the workshop area was in our garage with a tarpaulin flapping, but people didn't care.
No.
It was amazing.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the beginning. Yeah. And from there we did lots of other things. We went to an eco village in Findhorn and studied sort of under them, my husband and I. And I did a Pachacuti Mesa tradition with Don Oscar Quesada over in America, and finished the actual 2-year course that was shamanic teachings and healings. I finished that in San Francisco, and we had a big sort of celebration with it as well. So yeah, that was fun. But we both love the shamanic work and the working on the land and in nature, and so I've done lots of traveling, spent lots of money on my development.
Oh, and adventures though, isn't it? It's wonderful adventures with wonderful people. You end up creating new family and friends, and
exactly,
it's such a deepening, isn't it? It's a beautiful deepening.
It is, yeah. And then we travelled. We sold everything up and travelled around Australia for 10 years.
Oh wow!
So I was doing my work, running sound workshops, and I also learned hypnotherapy for quit smoking. What else? Yeah, so I was amazed with the amount of people that came to the sound workshops. It was just amazing. In the country, they don't get exposed to that here.
Right.
So they came out of the woodwork, and it was just brilliant.
Oh, well, that's really great. Oh, you've been doing a lot. And recently you ended up
getting called to Baru. Yes. My girlfriend and I, she suggested it to me. She said, oh, I've met this lady online. She's not taking a group, but she suggested that, you know, we go over to Peru. And I said, oh, I don't know about us in the jungle. How's that going to go? But then I got this real soul urge. Yeah, it was just a calling. I knew I had to go. And just before I left, I got a test by Spirit. I was about 3 days out of leaving, and my daughter's got quite a nasty heart condition, and we all had to be tested because it's genetic. Anyway, the genetic lady rang me 3 days before I was leaving, and so she said, I've got the gene as well, but my heart's not showing anything up too much. And she said, oh, are you still going to the Amazon? And I said, yes, of course I'm going to the Amazon. So then that night I thought, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't be going with my heart. You know how your head goes doubting. So anyway, the next morning I rang one of my girlfriends up and I said, look, I'm just going to organise my funeral arrangements with you. Would you and your hubby do it for me? Because I said, Adrian won't be in any state if anything happens to me. And she goes, oh my God, Kaaren, you're going to do that to me right here, right now, and you're leaving? And I said, well, yes, I just want this, and this. It's got to be fun. Julie will bring my ashes back. So if you can just do the rest.
Wow.
So I had all that organised, but unbeknown to me, it was a death in another way.
I was just going to say it. Oh, how awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'd arranged my physical death, not my spiritual death.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Wow. And oh, that just blows me away. And so you spent how long over there, Karen?
We
In the
had,
jungle.
yeah, 3 weeks in the jungle. Yeah. So we had a week, we had a couple of days either side, one just to get flights out of the way, and then 2 coming out of the jungle just to come back down into reality. It was massive. It was massive. Like, I went because I thought I was going to experience ayahuasca and San Pedro and tobacco and all those sorts of things, but it was way, way more than that. My connection with Aya was quite immediate, really, just from, because we had to learn to bash the actual vine because it's quite thick and sort of all tangled. You bash it, and then it goes into a big cauldron with chacruna leaves. So the Aya, if you have an Aya journey, it will only be for probably a half an hour to an hour. But with the chacruna in, those leaves expand the time, so you can have a journey from anything from 7 to 9 to 10 hours.
Oh, wow.
It's a long time, and we were having 4 journeys of Aya a week, and then Aya. So I had 12 journeys. So, and then we'd have 1 San Pedro, 1 tobacco, and whatever else Herberto threw in there. So, yeah, he juggled it around. We never knew what was going to come.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's the difference with what is the tobacco journey? Like, what's that about?
Well, I'll explain what he did with us. I think everyone's probably different, but
Yeah.
we had he gave us first up this long, it was like a cigar, quite round, mapacho, which is pure tobacco. And he said to us, you got to puff it. And Elishima and I are not smokers, so we go like with puff, puff, puff. He said, fast, puff it. And like, we were laughing, and he said, you got to do it till you're dizzy. And anyway, we puff, but we weren't getting dizzy. We were laughing so much. Everyone else was getting dizzy. They were fine. But he came up to us, not fast enough, puff, puff. So we got it down to about here, and eventually we got dizzy. That was the first part of it. Once you're dizzy, then he gives you some tobacco in your hand, and you have to chew it. So you chew it, but on one side of your mouth, and the other side you get saliva, so the tobacco mixes. So when you get enough saliva, you take the tobacco out, and then you swallow that, and immediately you get hot and sweaty, and it's the weirdest feeling. Anyway, then he says, next bit, you have tobacco up your nose. So, yeah. And that's like pow. It really clears the third eye, and it's amazing.
So
and
you're
then,
actually packing tobacco up the
no, it's like a snuff.
Oh, the smoke.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's a like a granulated or powder. Yeah. And
Oh,
it goes up
okay.
your nose. Yeah. So he blows that up, and that's, yeah, instantaneous. And then Elishima had enough by then. She laid down. She's passed out almost. And so he said, okay, you can have, the next thing is tobacco, like it's a liquid so it's pure tobacco liquid in your eyes. So I thought, oh, look, I've done this so far, I'll lay down and have it. Anyway, they said it can be a little bit painful.
Yeah, that's the bit that I thought straight away. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I laid back, opened my eyes, and then they put a drop in, and they say blink. So you open your eyes to blink, and there's no way you can. It's just so painful. And it takes a good probably 3 to 5, probably not that much, 3 minutes to clear before the pain goes away enough. And then it's just the most amazing clarity. and the visions for me were so clear, just amazing. Yeah. So that, but after that, he only introduced that, and then we had, I think it was the San Pedro ceremony for the rest of the day.
And what was the difference with the San Pedro?
San Pedro is the masculine, so it's a cactus, and it's crushed up, and you drink it. He mixes it up really fast, and he says drink it quite fast, and it's quite a big glass. And the slower you drink it, the more gluggy it gets. So it's best to drink it fast.
Yeah.
And he was saying to us that he worked through an interpreter because he speaks Spanish, but she was saying now San Pedro is much more gentle than Aya. It's the masculine, and you can journey, so you can walk out into the jungle and go into nature and da da da. But for me, it was the opposite. Everyone else was, and it's supposed to be a happy thing, like takes you up. So you have it, and within probably an hour, you start to go up, then you'll come down, then you'll go up again around lunchtime, and then you'll go down, and then around evening you'll come up again, and then you'll go down. So it lasts depending on, how your body takes it. Yeah. So for me, I got severe stomach cramps with it, and I did purge a bit where you're not meant to, but out in the jungle, I got the most amazing insights. Yeah. And he said, don't go too far away from the Maloka, because the Maloka is where we do all our ceremonies. And I went out to the massive big healing trees and just laid under there and did what I did. And then I thought, I'm feeling fine. I'm going to walk in further into the jungle to the next big trees, which I did. And I was fine. And everything's sort of magnified a little bit. It's like everything's really beautiful. You see everything very, very clearly. And
yes.
Yeah. But when I thought, it must be time to go back, I'll go back. But I felt so heavy, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to make it back. I felt like I was carrying all these weights of lifetime after lifetime on my shoulders, and it looked like tortoise shells. And every step I took, a tortoise shell would fall off. So it seemed to take forever to get back to the Maloka. I did get back, but I was exhausted. So, I didn't listen, did I?
Yeah, but we got to do what we got to do, eh?
We got to do, yeah. And it was a good shedding, it was fantastic.
Yeah. And no scary in the jungle stuff. Like I would have been worried about the snakes and the creatures.
Well, there are snakes.
Yeah,
there are boas, big boas in there. But I trust, and I've always worked in the country that I just say to the snakes, just stay in the bush. I know that you're there. Thank you. Just stay in the bush until I've gone past. And we had narrow paths. The paths were about this, and we were walking around in bare feet everywhere.
Right.
And I didn't fear at all. There were snakes. One girl turned up, and there were screams and banging from her bungalow. And I thought, what's going on? 2 snakes. She went into a bathroom, 2 snakes wrapped around her mirror.
Really? Oh my God.
But I think everyone gets what they need.
I was just going to say, I just wrecked it all because I had that fear of them, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of fearful of tarantulas, especially. And I just said, look, I know that you're there. Please don't come out. And I didn't see one. Right. One guy saw one on his step. And Elishima, she came back one night because I didn't do ceremony that night. And she came back and she was still sort of semi-in trance. And she said, I was seeing these animals as I was walking back. And she said, I had to keep stopping. I didn't know whether they were real or not. And she said, I came to the little bridge that we had to cross over, and she said, there was the hugest tarantula there. Anyway, one of the guys came up to her and he said, are you okay? And she said, No, there's a huge tarantula here, but it wasn't.
No. Oh, beautiful.
So
Did
we
he?
had some hilarious times, but really shifting times too.
Yeah, for sure. And so ayahuasca, how did that go for you? Like what the first journey, was there all the purging and all of that stuff? That wouldn't have been
For
fun.
me, my body was very, very sensitive, so especially to her.
Yeah.
And so he would give us a little goblet, probably it was about that high, and he started us all on half. Half was way too much for me. I was seeing like it was a carousel, and it's supposed to sort of click in about a half an hour, 5 minutes. I reckon, and it all just clicked in, and I was seeing this carousel with things, colours, lights, everything just whirring around, Ferris wheels, clowns' heads, all in bright colour, bright colour, just going around. And they explained to me the day after that the plant is so excited for you to be there, and that she wants to show you it all.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so she showed me it all, but for me it was too much because I was sweating and shaking, and yeah, my body was, it just was too sensitive. And yes, of course, this huge big crocodile came up through my base, and as soon as it hit my base, it was like, so it was just bringing up everything that I needed to bring up. But I didn't do massive purging. Once I got my dose right, which was about an eighth of a cup was all I could take,
Yeah.
that took me to the right place where I got the information that I needed to. And but some people could drink 2 cups.
Yeah.
Amazing. I couldn't believe it. And some of them were little people, and they were drinking.
Massive amounts. Oh my goodness. I've
Yeah.
always been really intrigued by ayahuasca and the journey with it. My other years I used to do, a bit of LSD and,
Yep.
the hallucinogenic stuff, but it was very clear. I get what you're saying about the clarity, like
Mm.
the acid, it really clears things, even your breathing, everything is like cleared out.
Yep.
But I really never ever wanted to experience all the purging. It's like I don't
Yes.
really want to have to go through all that stuff. So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
you were drawn, ayahuasca really took you and took you aside really, and honed you out of everyone else in the sense of being there. And
Yep.
you've since created this new step, which I've been a part of, and I just absolutely
Mm.
love it, Karen. I thank you so much for your courage and going in the first. I was so blown away when I heard you'd gone and see you on Facebook, and I'm like, Karen, in the but
Yeah, I think most of the people in the group were quite blown away with Elishima and I, because we were the old ones, the
yeah.
crones in there, and they couldn't believe it. But yeah, we got there and we survived.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And so tell us about how she connected with you and the vision now that she's, because what I've noticed, and I know you will know this for sure because she's definitely doing it with you, but I watched before I got the tincture and before I started, I watched a documentary about one of the men over there who went on the journeys, and then he created a center over there, and he takes people, so there's a lot of people go through journeys with him. And I couldn't tell you his name now, I wouldn't know,
Yep.
but everyone was saying that there, it's like she takes you and she starts showing you a pathway. She shows
Mm.
you how to do this thing that's being shown to you, and she leads you through, and that's exactly what I keep getting with her. It's like she's showing me a way, and
Yep.
sure, she certainly did that with you. So
Mm.
tell us
Mm.
all about that, Karen.
Well, it was into the second week, and Herberto was giving us also other plant medicine. So for the first week, I worked with a purging, clearing all the gut, It's just a plant thing that you drink each day, which was quite pleasant. The second week I was working on my heart, and he gave me the heart stuff. And it was then that I really, really deeply connected with her as we were making up one of the brews.
Right.
And I'd taken, just by chance, I'd taken one of these bottles over. And I thought I'll just bring some, my thought was I'll just bring some Amazon water back, just
Yes.
thinking, yeah, but it wasn't that at all. And she said, can you please get your bottle out tonight? And I want you to put it on. I've got a rug behind me, which you probably can't see. It's all been, it was made over 3-4 months by the shaman ladies. And it's got, anyway, I had that over the table in my room. And she said, place the bottle with some distilled water, which I got, just in the center of the table with a candle burning behind it. And she said, I'm going to guide you through a 9-day process. Now, the process of boiling ayahuasca up is 9 hours. So this was going to be a 9-hour journey. So I just put the bottle in there and left it there with the candle. The following night, we had a really, really powerful ceremony through the night, with storm coming in and wind coming in, and the Curandandos all came in, and it was magnificent. So she gave me more information. She said, right, I want you to get some of the ayahuasca brew that you made up, or not me, but they brewed up, but we'd all put intentions in it.
Yeah.
Well, how's this going to happen? Because you can't just go and help yourself to the brew. So I spoke with the guy that brewed it, because they stay with it for 9 hours during the day, incanting into it and blessing it and da-da-da. And then it's got to be boiled down 3 times. So I talked with him and he said, Kaaren, that's going to be amazing. I will go talk with Roberto for you and see if I can give you a little bit. So anyway, he got a little bit. He said, you don't need a heap. And I said, I'm not putting it into the bottle. It's going to be a vibrational exchange. So anyway, I set it all up as I was guided, and put it next to the bottle. And it was left for, I think, 2 or 3 days. But the first day we had another amazing night ceremony. And I could see, after I came back from the ceremony, the vine just growing up through the bottle. And I thought, oh, wow. So I'd left it as instructed. And then anyway, the final day, she said, it's done. Chuck the other stuff out and take the bottle up to Roberto during ceremony and ask him if he can incant some Icaros into it. So I took it up to him thinking, oh, God. Anyway, my head getting in the way as usual. And he said, yes. And he called me back that night and he said, it's all done. Thank you for doing that. So on some level, we must have had some sort of agreement, because yeah. So anyway, it was done. And this is where I've created my rebirth essence, because that's what happened to me over there. I was some part of me, that part that I think I had that original part when we created the retreat on the farm, because I was excited about that. But then I sort of became really quite stagnant, and I thought, oh, I'm too old, I'm done, whatever. But anyway, this has rebirthed me. And I feel excited and alive again. And look, if I can share this just with a few people, that's fantastic, but it's doing great for me. So yeah, I think for people that can't get into the jungle, and especially healers, she really wanted this given to healers and shared with healers, because not everyone can afford to go in there. Not everyone wants to purge or do that sort of work. It's been done, and this is you can probably explain it for you. It's a much softer way of doing it, but it's very, very heart-based.
Yes, definitely that. And I mean, only an hour, if that, after taking my first actual drops, because you were energetically transferring for a little while until I got my bottle. only an hour in, and I was running for the loo, like my bowel cleaned out. It was
Yeah.
instant. And since then, nothing like that again, but definitely I could feel the vine after our
Yep.
connection. I could feel the vine actually in my body growing through me.
Mm,
She's been really, really directing me into a certain thing, and I've written down bits, but I'm still formulating this to present.
mm,
And yeah, very, very cool, and initiate others through into this energy with her,
mm,
because she's and the message that very first message that came through for me when because I connected with you, or but Bev connected us together, and even though we weren't
mm,
were, but after me having that vision dream and
mm.
about the vial and all of that, and then Bev said, "Oh, you need to talk to Kaaren," and it was like, oh, because I followed your
That
journey.
was just so amazing,
It
wasn't it?
it was, and I knew she was also calling me to it.
Mm,
I just knew
mm,
that. So absolutely been enjoying it. And what she keeps mentioning to me, because she, for me, is the great mother. She's
mm,
for and with the great mother,
mm,
as great mother,
mm.
So
Yes.
there's a real, there's a real beautiful little pathway opening up. I can feel it, see it, know it. Uh,
Mm.
so yeah, look out, new year after new year, I'll be putting some new things out there with her.
I think it's exciting because she's birthing all of us to go to that next level of whatever it is we all have. We all have these gifts, and that's what she's unlocking within us.
Yes,
Is these
absolutely.
deep, deep hidden gifts, and part of it, but not knowing it, we've been hiding.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Absolutely. And she's definitely helping on a rebirth in
Oh,
respect to that myself. It's like that. I can feel it. I've been going through it for sure.
yes,
And yeah, it's very exciting. And I love that it's not the purgy thing. I'm just over having to do it hard,
yes, yep,
all of
yep,
that.
yep.
And hats off to you, Kaaren, for going and actually
I've done the
experiencing.
purging for all of you now.
You
You've got a gentler, a gentler way of doing it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
No,
have, and it's fantastic.
yeah. And
Oh,
I sort of got once I got back and sort of got back into reality, I got, well, obviously there was some soul contract between Aya and myself to do this.
yeah,
Whether I followed it through or not,
yeah,
totally up to me. But I find that each journey that I've had to go on, whether it be America, in the mountains, and like this Peruvian one, has always activated me into creating something, firstly the retreat and then other things, and
yeah.
now this. So if I follow my intuition, it's always correct, isn't it?
It is, eh?
Mm.
It's those talking with somebody else the other day, those calls, there's no way we can not do it.
No,
We
no.
just have that call, and we know that is exactly what we're meant to be doing. And
Mm.
the steps are always showing, you might know how on earth it's going to happen and where it's going to happen, but
Yep,
it always does when we just trust it. And yeah, so
it
it's a
does.
fun thing. It's exciting and full of adventure, eh? And that's sort of cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'll be
Yeah,
excited to see where it leads you and Bev and myself.
yeah,
It's, yeah, going to open up some excellent avenues, and whoever else decides to, yeah, invite
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
How did it feel, Karen? I know when I've gone away and done, retreats and there's always some huge big, some people go
Mm,
and they
mm,
think, well, that was not worth it. I didn't get anything
mm.
out of that. But mostly when you do these sorts of things, you do have some really deep dives, and it takes something
Oh,
out that we're needing to let go of or ready to go.
yep.
And stepping into something new, and we're creating something new, like you're saying. But
Mm,
I know for myself, when I've been going to leave one retreat in particular where I really broke through. And
yep.
it was like, how do I come back into my reality that I left, go back
Mm,
into that and
mm,
this newness? How do I do that? And one of the things that I will say to everyone is you stay wide open, which means you leave your heart wide open. And you
Mm,
just allow everything to show you how it's going to unfold now, because we don't know. But how
I-
did it feel for you coming out of the jungle back into
mm.
suburbia? As such,
Yes,
seeing back at
yeah.
the
Well,
airport.
we had given ourselves 4 days in San Diego, just in a hotel, but we allowed ourselves to go out on trips. Like we went out into the Alps and still in nature, sort of getting out of the
Right.
city, but then resting a lot. And I really needed rest because the last week of my purge, there was something massive that was shifted out. And Herberto works on us every day, as well as in the Malacca as well. So he was working on some pretty hefty stuff for me. And it worked on my body really physically. So I wasn't able to eat a lot. I got sort of quite weak that last week. So coming back into suburbia, I didn't know how I was actually going to survive, really.
Yeah.
But once I could eat a little bit of normal food, I started getting my energy back again. But like you, I didn't want to close the heart. But yeah, I sort of needed to keep myself in pretty much a bit of a cocoon because, there's a
Yeah.
17-18 hour flight after
Yes.
to get back to Australia. And then once Adrian picked me up from the airport, I could feel it. My throat started coming up and it was let down. And so I was sick for 2 weeks afterwards. But it was
Oh,
just my body resting and I
oh,
allowed it. Normally I would have gone, come on, get up, go do your exercise or whatever. But I didn't. I just laid and let it go because I knew subconsciously that I'd had a massive shift. So,
yeah.
yeah, and that was one of the things, was to be gentle on myself.
Yes. And we've got to integrate it, eh?
Oh,
Allow that to happen, allow the integration, because the
mm,
body's now got to really adjust to the newness, the letting go and the receiving, because
yes,
it's just so much. Huge
yeah,
stuff. Mm.
yeah. And I didn't realize quite how much I'd purged out, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Um, and then, channeling the Aya through, which I had no idea of what I was going to create. Once I got back, she gave me all the information. Once I was well enough, I thought, oh, I better have a look at this water stuff that I've created. Um, anyway,
Yeah.
and that was a whole new journey in itself, just to
Mm.
get the words. She wanted the words specific, and it took me ages to get it right, and I kept doubting. Luckily I had you and Bev to sort of encourage me along the way, because I thought, oh, this is just for me, it's not for anybody else. No, a couple of healers sent to me who I said, oh, have a feel of this. And as soon as they felt it, it was like, oh my God, I don't know what this is, but whew, this is powerful. And they felt all dizzy and funny. And so I thought, oh,
Yeah.
well, there must be something in it.
Absolutely. And I mean, that vision, as I shared with you, that, holding that little vial, because it was the
Yes.
tiniest little vial. It was so
Well, it
bizarre.
was when I first created it.
Oh my
It was
God. Well,
tiny.
tiny. That's what I was seeing. And all I kept hearing was this water's going to change the world.
Mm.
Gonna heal the world or change the world. And it just kept going through over and over and over, saying those words. And it was like, right, you know, yeah,
Yes, and
it's
that's a couple
incredible.
of healers have said the same thing. They've just held it and said, "My God, this is going to change things. It's going to change." And then, I've
Yeah.
had you as well. So,
Mm,
thank you so much for the
yeah.
encouragement, because otherwise I probably would have just let it go and left it in the cupboard.
Yeah, maybe. She might not have been.
No, no, yeah.
No, I don't think she would have actually. But anyway, gosh, thank goodness you did. And you and also had the courage to say something about getting some of the tincture or the mixture, because
Mm.
you could have sat there and not said anything, being too scared to, thinking, oh
Well,
no,
I
go
toyed
with it.
with it and I thought, that
Mm,
who are they going to think I am, that, I want a little bit of this. And I didn't know whether Herberto would let me, but I didn't want to do it behind his back either.
no. No.
I needed permission.
Yeah.
So, and then to have it finally blessed by him with the Icaros. And I think that's what people feel, because I did a little group of, there was about 15, I think, and gave them the drops and then did some sound around them. And they said, and I thought, oh God, this sound is dreadful. I can't get it right. Well, Elishima and I were doing it. And anyway, they said afterwards, oh my God, you had a whole heap of people come in and do sound with you. Did you bring other people in? And I said, no. And they said, oh, it was just amazing. So I think the Icaros in this is
Wow.
coming through in some way.
So, Kaaren, what's Icaros?
Icaros are, so what Herberto and them learn as littlies to sing to the plants, and
Right.
they're called Icaros. So, and each plant has a different Icaro. So they'll stand at the end of the bed and he sings to you the Icaro that is appropriate for you. So that
Oh,
might be his sister, also sings as well. And he does the whole group. We would have a group of 10, and then there were 5 that were in trainees. So there was probably, 15 of us. Every person gets sung on which Icaro, whatever suits them for that evening or during the day. Yeah, so and they're just so powerful. Yeah,
yeah,
powerful.
beautiful.
And I think because he's sung into these, the appropriate Icaros, well, yeah, it's coming through somehow without me actually knowing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
so sound, I find, just amplifies it. And I find by just anchoring the vine into them, like I did with you, it immediately starts to, shoot off to where she needs to go.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh no, it's very exciting, very exciting. I'm really excited to see where it's all going and what else really. But even right now, it's beautiful, and she's definitely assisting me into many different deep dives within myself and this rebirth.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's
And I find sometimes you'll go, oh, can you show me this or show me that? But that's not what she wants to show you. She will go to where she needs to go. And
yeah,
it's always so pertinent and
yes,
powerful.
yeah. Well, only I don't even know, probably a week or so of getting the actual bottle and starting to actually take that. She, I don't know, but there was a huge meridian portal opened down in my little gazebo, which looks
Oh,
like your,
beautiful.
what did you call those that you did your
The
juice?
medicine. Oh, the Malacca. It
Malacca.
looked like
Yeah,
your Malacca. Yeah, you've got a
yes.
mini Malacca. Yes.
Mini Malacca. Well, that there, honestly, the energy that opened up in there was just incredible, to the point where it just about levitated my friend when she first walked in.
Ah,
And by the time I got in there, it was like all hair on my body was standing up. It
I've
was
just
just
got goosebumps from head to toe.
absolutely powerful, like so pumping. So
Mm.
Earth Meridian, something I don't know, opened and cleared, and I keep feeling that energy's going to be brought through me in some way through the
Yes.
workshops and
Yep.
presentations and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's all good, but man, it was pumping.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she does, and that's the thing. She will be worked with different ones of us healers
Yeah.
through the meridians, the waterways, the oceans, and it's a way of purifying, or assisting us to purify the earth and bring so much more light down too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I know, it's so cool. So Karen, how do people get hold of you and like
They can email me, a.k@hotmail.com. They can ring me 0428 641 057. Or, if they're interested in the bottles, I can post them over. And I know, Mandy, I'll be providing you with some bottles, so people in New Zealand can get some bottles off you if need be.
yes.
And yeah, so normally what I do is I'll send them the bottle, and then I'll do the initiation with them. So just so that they're getting the anchoring, and then it's up to them and their intuition. I have suggestions that they can do. You know, they can go as deep or as shallow as they wish to go with the bottle. But she'll guide you
Yeah.
as with you, doesn't she? You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to ask too much. She just does the work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
No,
some of the
it's
people
really
that
good.
I've done have like they can't even take her yet. They're just having to sleep with her or have her by their bed, because she's still creating, you know, they're having massive dreams and shifts in their own ways. And then there's another one who's gone right into, you know, cutting out all of the things that we had to cut out, which was dairy and pork and da 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 da. And she's doing ceremony with Aya as well. So she gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, does fire ceremony, and the shifts that she's having is just
Wow.
amazing.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's definitely like it sets an intention for you, whether you know what that intention is or not.
exactly.
She has
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
She
And what
has
I'm
one for you.
finding, yeah, with people is it's really holding them centered and grounded, and
Mm,
they're noticing, even though there's chaos around them, they're noticing that they're much calmer within.
yeah, yeah.
For this day and age, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. And
And thank you for inviting me. I
oh,
don't normally get up and speak, so this is out of my comfort zone.
yeah, well, it's the start of a new thing, I'm sure, Karen, for you.
Yeah.
Very much so. So yeah, anyone, obviously I'm running people through this as well. And
Mm,
like I say, like you said, with the bottles coming. So yeah, we'll see where it all leads us for
yes.
sure.
All exciting. See what
It is.
2025 opens up for all of us, hey?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Thank you so much, Karen, and thank you so much, Ayahuasca, for your journey with us as well, and
Yes.
creating more in depth with us individually as well, Karen, you and I. So
Yes.
it's
And thank
beautiful.
you for me. Thank you to the universe for me trusting.
Yes, for sure,
Wow.
trusting. Yeah, that was big.
Yep.
Good stuff. Oh, much love,
Right.
Karen, and all the very best.
Yes. Thanks, Mandy. See you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.